Hello.
Hello. Good to see you.
That was nerve-wracking trying to do that for the first time.
You did well. Good job.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Thursdays at 2-ish with Liz
Hmm.
Gale and Cassie Marie from No Culty Vibes. We're going to do our SPTV roundup, talk about all the Scientology and a little bit of other culty news from the week, share some big news stories and some good news. And we're just going to jump right into it, right?
Exactly. Let's see. It has been a crazy week as far as Scientology watching goes because it has just been all over the news, all over the place. Isn't that right, Cassie Marie? I'm not sure if I'm frozen or she's frozen, but let's see. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Hi, everybody. So glad that you're here. Hi, Brian and Marilyn. I'm not sure if we're going to have to start this live over. Well, we can stare at Cassie Marie's beautiful frozen face. This has been such a wild week in Scientology news watching. It has been, yes, delicious things. SPTV has basically been on 24/7. I am doing this roundup and I haven't even watched, to be honest, everything that we're going to talk about today. So, did I say hi to Dominique? Hi. I'm in Cassie Marie's stream here. She just texted me and said, "Oh, of course her internet goes out." Right when she's live. Yeah, I'm live, but I'm in her account, so I can't really do much. I can't show anything. Um, hey, Stick Delicious. Well, I guess we're just gonna change the vibe up a little bit. I know her freeze was so pretty. Um, I think I might have to cancel this live, guys, and hop over to my own channel, or maybe we're gonna reschedule. Anywho, well, she did freeze so pretty, but then she came off. I'll hold down the fort. What's everybody doing? It's Thursday. I did a live with Marilyn this morning and we had a really good time. Talked about a lot of parenting and cult stuff, so that was pretty heavy. But I felt really good about it. Hi.
Guys, my internet does not like when I try to go live. What do we blame it on SPTV? Don't people say there are body thetans on the interwebs, like on the Wi-Fi wires or something?
Yeah.
It shut off. It was like, you're done.
Wow.
You're canceled. So sorry, guys. Thanks for hanging around for everyone who's still here. Let me see if I can add these slides and we
Let's
can do
do
our
it.
SPTV roundup.
Let's do it to it.
Go back to one.
It does
Okay.
happen. Okay.
You want to take it away, Liz?
Sure. In the world of SPTV, hey, Apostate Alex, we have had a crazy week. First thing we're going to talk about is growing up in Scientology. Aaron was all over national news. And I
He
guess I can
was.
control this. He went on Kumo. That's how you say it, right? Kumo?
Cuomo?
Cuomo. I don't watch it, but I watched Aaron
I
on it.
don't either. Yeah.
And it was big. It was a big deal. He also, I guess one of my slides is gone. He also went on Donna Bowling podcast, which was really awesome.
Is
Let's
that
see.
this one? Oh,
Yeah, sorry, we're both clicking at the same time. We got issues today, girl. Yeah, which her face, I did her a little dirty there. But she's a huge TikToker. So I was excited to see this collab.
that's so cool.
We also had Christy go on, Colbrin Rinder go on with Amy, and I just love everything she does. Christy's just such a sweet heart soul. So if you get a chance to watch, this is about her story. I know we hear about Mike and Leah, and we hear about the people around her often, but it's great to hear her talk about her own story.
She's the sweetest. And I love that she was able to go on with Amy and tell her story, because Amy's story was like the first Scientology and the Aftermath story, right?
I believe
So,
so, and it started from Amy's mom. They had done some filming of her mom before she
yes,
passed away. Mhm.
that's what it was. So,
Yeah.
they were cute. It was really nice to hear about Christy.
Yeah, it was a long one too. I think it was over 2 hours, so there's a lot of
Oh,
great
yeah.
information in there. Mhm. And then we had Serge and Liz Ferris. Serge Del Mar and Liz Ferris went on. Um, I think a lot of people's topics this week were the Danny Masterson and fallouts from that. So they discussed this, and I really just wanted to point out that even though Liz, her name Liz Ferris is Pokemon and Colts, and she has this cute little Pokemon. Is that Pikachu?
That's
I
so
think that's
cute. I was gonna point out that I adore Serge's, like, language and, like, topic or titles that he chooses for things. And 2 peas in a literal pod cracked me up.
Yep.
I love
He's no
it.
nonsense. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We also had Poe on the Go had Scientology Can Suck It, which I just loved this thumbnail. I didn't even
Yes.
screenshot them. I just loved the thumbnail so much. But it had Vanessa and Jeffrey and Liz Ferris also on. You want to talk about this one?
Yes, so I added this one in because Mark has been back. He's been busy, so it's been Claire holding down the fort on the Blown for Good channel, and he uploaded another Scientology spy files, which he hasn't added in a while, and I love his Scientology spy files. So I wanted to add this. He also was back with Aaron on Monday. They did their like Monday night SPTV with the two of them, and it was cool to see them back together.
Yeah, that was nice. I had gotten a little used to Aaron having like a bigger panel, and it was nice to
Mhm.
kind of just have slow and steady. But I'm sure Aaron was getting tired. He did a lot.
Yeah.
Tell me about this.
So I added this one in as well because Ian Rafalco has also not been around for the last like month or so. Not a super long time.
Mhm.
He's just not like Aaron on there posting 5 videos a day. But he was back this week and he had 2 videos about Dr. Eric Berg just diving into his connection to Scientology. If I'm not mistaken, that's Ian's dad, right?
Correct. Mhm.
So he's going in. I think there's been a couple new like controversies and scandals and people talking about stuff. So I always find those interesting. I'm going to do a deep dive on Dr. Berg soon. So wanted to throw him in there.
Love it. I bet he'd help you. I mean, I bet you guys could collab.
I bet we could.
Yeah. And then we have Mitch Brisker and Jackson chatting. I just love Mitch. I think he's hilarious because I don't know if you follow him on TikTok, um, but he's funny. He put some funny posts up. I think he had one this morning. It was like when you what was it? When a cult leader love bombs you with a $3,000 juicer, and he just makes juice. And he's like, "Thanks, Davy."
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
funny.
It was funny. Let's see. Oh, there's me. I don't know. I'm getting I was on with Marilyn this morning, and then I watched a little bit of it in order to get this screenshot. I'm having a hair day, guys. Having a hair day. But I had so much fun. We covered a lot this morning. We talked about moms, we talked about being moms, we talked about child development in cults. And that's my next deep dive for sure. Child development.
It was a really good one. I watched a lot of it and I really liked what you guys were talking about. And I think Marilyn has kind of started a little bit of a series talking about like
Yes.
growing up in different cults too. So
Exactly. I'm very, very interested to watch her tomorrow though, because her own daughter is going to be on.
yeah,
And
I heard her say
yes,
that.
yes, I'm really excited about that for sure.
Yep.
You got all excited there for a second. Is our next slide a big one?
I think I was looking at the comments.
Oh,
I get
okay.
distracted by the comments
You
sometimes and
got
I
so
get excited
excited.
too.
You were doing a little dance. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I have no control over comments, so feel free to pop
Okay.
them up anytime. And Reese, relatable Reese, she's been kind of MIA this week. MA from YouTube. She's doing her own thing, which everyone's allowed to do. But it was great to see her. It was her last day in Nashville. She said she's coming back. She said her and Aaron really miss each other, and they're going to be excited to get back to doing their
Love it.
regular lives.
Love it. Love it.
Yep. And then Kelly Copter was on Dazed But Not Confused. This is like literally next in my watch. I've watched most of it. And these are two folks that I'm still waiting to collab with, but Kelly Copter just has such a crazy story. And I don't mean she's crazy. I'm
Yeah.
saying the things that she has gone through is crazy. She was declared a
It's
suppressive
wild.
person at, what'd she say, 6 years old? So,
Yeah. I've watched most of her story. Yeah.
yeah. And I
Crazy.
and I do appreciate the way that that they interact in this video in particular, like this particular interaction, because I don't know, they both get a little into the weeds about it, and I appreciate that. I thought
I
they did
love
a good
that.
job. Mhm.
I wanna get on with Kelly Copter too, so we can have her pink hair and my green hair would look so cute on a live together.
I'm like, you guys could braid it. If you were in the same place, you could braid
Oh my
it.
gosh. Love it.
Yeah. Okay, and then Apostate Alex, this is not I guess the best screenshot, but he is just full of really interesting information and news, particularly related to he has his, let me see if I the next slide. Yeah, Scientology Business. That is his blog. And he is just coming out with all kinds of really interesting information, like some of the UK just put out like a statement that was negative about Scientology, and now they're looking into some different bank things. Really, really fascinating, and I think he's doing really good work. Oh, you're
Yeah,
welcome.
and, yeah, Apostate Alex also had a video this week about Scientology sales tactics that I added to my watch list
Right.
because that's how the parallels between Scientology and like the coaching industry and the business industry and entrepreneurship.
Mhm.
That's kind of like what woke me up to what I
Right.
was a part of. So that's on my watch list and it looks really interesting. Alex has the most interesting, like in-depth topics. I love it.
Yeah, and I think it's really amazing topics that are.
We're making him blush.
Yeah, we are. Love them. I think they're really I mean, Alex, I think you're really uncovering and exposing some really powerful stories that kind of appeal to the non-emotional senses, the non-emotional
Mhm.
dangers of Scientology. It's great. Good job.
Yeah.
I love it. Let's see here. And then you added this one as well. Oh no, we did this
Yeah.
one. I
No,
guess we're.
we haven't done this one yet.
Oh, got it.
So, yeah, I added this one in. Surge, did a premiere video where he reacted to a panel reacting to Ashton and Mila's, statement, apology, not apology video that
Mhm,
they made after sending letters of support to Danny Masterson.
mhm,
And I loved Serge kind of calling them out and like correcting them and also agreeing with them in places. And I thought it was interesting. And that's our main story this week. The internet, unless you've been under a rock, you wouldn't know. But the internet's been blowing up about Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis sending in letters to the judge ahead of Danny Masterson's sentencing after he was found guilty. I've seen a lot of
mhm,
confusion about that online. People are like,
mhm,
well, maybe they did. No, this was after he was found guilty, before sentencing, asking for a lesser sentence, talking about how wonderful and amazing their bestie Danny is.
mhm.
And those letters were a matter of public record. And the interwebs got a hold of them.
Yep.
And Ashton and Mila are canceled. And they are more so after this apology ish video. I'm not sure it was intended to be an apology video. I think it was just more like of a statement. Um, it dug them in even further. It put them even deeper in the issues. Everyone caught the story. This was a screenshot from CNN.
Mhm,
Like, it's everywhere. Every creator I follow on TikTok was covering it. Every creator I follow on YouTube was covering it.
mhm.
Everyone.
And it's funny too because it's almost as if the Ashton Kutcher, is it Kutcher, by the way? I pronounce
I
it
call him
incorrectly.
Kutcher.
I think
I've
it's
always
Kutcher.
called him Ashton
Okay.
Kutcher, but I have no idea. I could be absolutely
We'll
wrong.
we'll go with that. That Kutcher
Okay.
and Kunis, it's almost as if their horrible apology video was a bigger story than the letters had been and Danny Masterson being sentenced.
Yep. Yeah,
And
I definitely felt like that was the case.
right, and
It
they really, really, really messed up. And it's funny because,
Mhm.
they obviously were guided by some sort of PR. I saw a little meme that said, they were told to sit in front of an indescript wall.
Yep.
Unfortunately, they had put their house on Architectural Digest, so people know that's the wall of their million-dollar estate. That just reminds us all that he got his money from a lot of it. I'm sure he has other stuff now, but back in the day, his starting point was a lot of that modeling in that '70s show, and I don't know,
Yep.
it's very bizarre. They didn't seem to do anything right.
Yeah, I don't think they did a single thing right. Apase Alex, this is hilarious.
Cooter, I know, I think that's why
Um,
I think the coup thing.
yeah, people are probably calling him that now. Yeah, I think it's really interesting timing for them to have done this. I think that this wouldn't have been as big of a story if all the pieces didn't fall into place. I think the fact that we have the Lizzo lawsuits that came out a
Mhm.
couple of weeks ago, we have several prominent celebrities having kind of a fall from grace right now. There was another Jimmy Fallon has a lawsuit against him. Employed. Did you see that story?
Mm-mm.
Oh, girl, Jimmy Fallon has employees coming out and saying that working with him was horrible, that it was
Mm.
such a terrible, toxic work environment that they literally wanted to unalive him themselves at times because
Ooh.
anytime you disagreed with him or if you made him upset, he would fly off the handle. They would cry at work all the time. Apparently, was a he allegedly is an alcoholic and like an angry one.
Mm.
So there's like all of these so that happened right before this.
Okay.
Then Drew Barrymore announced that her show is going to come back on and
Yeah.
we're still in the middle of the writers and actors strike. Her show doesn't affect the actors strike, but her show is written by writers. So it's a
Mhm.
struck show with the
Mhm.
WGA and she's basically going against that, which is considered crossing a picket line
Mhm.
and scabbing. If you break it down, I've seen a lot of different
Mhm.
sides to that, a lot of people giving different opinions. But if you break it down, it's a struck show. And
Mhm.
she had decided to move forward and release kind of a gaslighty, manipulative statement. Maybe I shouldn't use that word because I don't know if gaslighting is entirely appropriate for what she wrote,
Okay.
but it definitely was a little manipulative. She kind of like had a lot of emotion to it and was basically like, this is for the rest of our crew and I support the writers, but blah, 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 blah.
Mm.
And kind of was making it try to sound like it wasn't wrong or wasn't a struck show when it
Right.
definitely is. So, and that happened literally right before or at the same time as like this
Mhm.
apology video. So,
Mhm.
so many things kind of fell into place. So I think in like the
Mhm.
pop culture world, people are on high alert for celebrities who are not who they say they are and who are doing things that they say they would never do.
Mhm.
And the fact that Ashton and Mila have built a whole brand around supporting victims and they have their Thorn organization that's supposed to combat child sex trafficking and
Mhm.
all of these things, tying themselves so close to Scientology and going against victims ruined that.
Yep.
Ruined. And I don't think there is any coming back from it.
I suspect there's not. I did see a, PR strategist tell them what they should have done, and what he needs to step down. He needs at this point to step down as head and face of the Thorn organization. If he truly cares about victims, that would be very important to do in the next should have done it already, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't know that there is Mila probably has a better chance of coming back because she was so young,
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah.
People can kind of see how she is also a victim. But then now, when you have the fact that Chrissy Bixler just went off Oh,
Mhm.
over the weekend about Ashton bringing up some distasteful sort of things from his past with that he was, we'll say seeing a girl who ended
Yeah.
up getting unalived by a serial unaliver. I'm sure I can say those
Mhm.
things on here, but I'm not sure yet, so I'm just going with
We
unaliver.
have
Yes,
TikTok
you have
speak.
TikTok language.
Be
Um,
careful.
but that was a whole thing where Chrissy Bixler literally said that she was on speakerphone the night that Ashton went to this woman's house, quote, saw wine on the floor,
Mhm.
and then they were supposed to go to a party, and he went back out to his car, and he called Danny Masterson, and he asked for advice. It wasn't wine that he saw. He saw her unalived on the ground, and Chrissy Bixler
Mhm.
is calling him out for that. So there was that, and as I also don't know if you saw this morning, but these guys are also in the middle of a, NFT lawsuit now.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it
no.
just came out this morning, maybe we can screen grab, but basically, what was it called? Stoner Cats, is that what it's called? Something Cats. They had a show,
Let me
uh-huh,
look.
yeah, um, so they had a cartoon, and they did voices, and it was actually Mila's production company that put this cartoon together. I think it's called Stoner Cats, but I'm not totally sure.
Mm.
I might be the stoner here.
Yeah, no, you're
No.
right.
Okay.
Let me pull
Um,
it up.
and famously, this, animation program was supposed to be operating off of NFT sales, of their own, I think of their own, graphics and whatnot. And now I guess they were not, the NFT sale group company was not properly registered. And
Okay.
so basically, I think it's just, honestly, I think it's just kind of an oversight, one of those business mistakes. I really do think that just sort
Yeah,
of happens in the world, but the timing is really awful. And it just goes to show that, um, they really are gonna get piled on now. I think we're gonna
they
see
are.
more negative
Every
news
single
stories.
thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, people are I mean, Chrissy did this, and then a lot of people are going through, like, every old interview that Ashton has done where he has said anything, even slightly unsavory. People are sharing it like crazy. Like, this is Ashton and Mila must be freaking out. And a lot of celebrities are in a lot of NFT trouble. We're seeing a lot of
Yeah.
NFT associated lawsuits, and a lot of celebrity companies are like wrapped up in that. Um, did this so like do you know if Ashton and Mila were investors in this or if they were just part of the cast? Like, is this something
No,
they started?
I understand that it was actually Mila Kunis's production company.
Production con
And so,
Oh,
I think that's the case.
yeah.
Maybe it says in there.
It
Uh-huh.
says yeah, she's listed on the production's website as a member of the production team and the
So
blockchain team.
really, I mean,
Mm,
I'm sure it wasn't their doing to it sounds like a lawyer's mistake, right? Being registered the way you're
right,
supposed to be registered. That's like a
right.
legal business administrative type thing. I wouldn't put that at the feet necessarily of Mila. Um, however, I think it just goes to show that, once you are like, I think they've hit a tipping point now where it's just
Mhm.
they're all downhill. Like, I don't think they're gonna come back, um,
Yeah,
from this. So, and the
I
other
don't
thing
yeah.
too is their apology video was atrocious. And to say it was an apology video might really be loosely speaking because they said, I wish we had the video on here, but I think they said, "I'm sorry if." I believe
I
that's
can
what
pull
they
up the video. Do we
Let's
wanna
watch
watch
it.
it really quick?
Let's watch
I
it.
think I have it right
There's
here.
there's also a
Roll.
moment in the very beginning where Mila makes eye contact with, um, Ashton, and I thought that was just really interesting.
She also does a little, like, eyebrow thing at
She
one
does.
point
She said, "I
when
think
he
she's
says
pissed." I think she's very,
yeah,
very angry. That's how she comes across in this video to me, and she's clearly reading a script that either she doesn't believe or she doesn't wanna be
mhm,
saying. That's what I got. Let's
yeah.
watch.
Let me I have to start it over, but let's see. Can you hear it?
No.
Okay, hold on. Let me, do it again.
And also look at their clothes and like they literally look like hostages. Like they look like they are uncut. And I get that because I'm sure they were told don't look fancy. It's a bad idea to look fancy and rich. But yeah, I still can't hear it. Now I don't think I can hear you.
I
We'll just watch
muted
their
my.
body language. We don't even have to listen to them. Look at her. She's licking her lips. Look at that. There, she did it. She pissed.
Yep.
Oh, and then I saw a body language expert there. He
Yeah.
almost
I had to unplug my mic because I thought it would help us hear it, but
it's actually fascinating
let's
to
see.
watch them
Yeah, I don't know.
without
I'm
talking.
still figuring this out, but yeah, their body language. And oh, the other thing about it was how rehearsed Mila sounded, and you can hear them like clicking, going to like other slides, and it's just like you guys couldn't do any better than that. Like, come on.
I was surprised that he's a better actor than she is. Yeah, they look very distraught. She's pulling at her shirt. She's licking her lips. My gut instinct is that he was like, "We need to do this for Danny," and she was like,
Now I can't
"Husband."
hear you.
Oh, that's
Did I
weird.
mute you?
You might have muted me.
Uh-oh.
Can you guys
Hold
put a 1
on.
in the chat if you can hear me? Well, no one's putting a 1 in the chat.
You might have to carry us for a second. I'm gonna have to go out and go back
Oh,
in.
you guys can hear me. Whew, okay.
Ruined everything. Okay.
Fine.
You keep talking about Mila. I'll be right back.
Okay. I wanted to see that, but it really struck me, honestly. I think that he was like, "No, we need to do this, Mila." And she was like, "No, husband, no, this is a bad idea. This is not a good idea." And he was like, "No, let's do it." That's the impression I kind of got from the way she was like biting her lips and like looking at him. She like raised her eyebrows, that little smirk. Maybe that's just because I can be a vindictive wife. Sometimes I get a little, I told you so, but that's what it seemed like to me, was a wife who was like, "You got us into this mess. Can't believe you." Hi.
I can hear you now.
Okay. Will you put that screen back up so we can,
Yeah.
Joni says that she heard us both the whole time.
Yeah, it was me,
We'll get
guys.
better
I
at
don't
this.
know. I'm
We'll get better.
having the most technical difficulties with this lately. Let's see.
'Cause I'm imagining like, a spy, like a Mad TV spy outside your house with, like, big shears, like, cutting your internet.
Probably
Yeah.
at this point, that's what it feels like.
Okay, but you missed my thing. I think that she's mad at him. I think this
Oh,
was Ashton's idea, and Ashton was like, "Babe, we're gonna write these letters." She was like, "No." And then this happened, and the way she kinda raised her eyebrows and she looks at him, she looks pissed at him.
she looks mad.
Look
That
at
was
she's clenching her jaw right there.
my first thought when I watched this was she's big mad. Like I think
Yeah.
that's why she sounds so rehearsed
We know, hon. We're
because
looking at it without it. Go ahead.
yeah, here, I'll put this up. Yeah, I can't figure out how to put the audio. We're just
This is
watching
for the
them.
sake of their body language. Oh,
Yeah.
there he goes.
Yes, but I was like, I'm not a body language expert, but like I think she looks so mad. And actually, someone I follow on TikTok that reads blind items and does like fully gossipy stuff, she read a blind item a while ago that said Mila was pissed at Ashton because of the whole Danny thing and because he wouldn't distance them from it. So
Yeah.
there's been rumors that Mila's been mad about this for a while. So
Well,
I
that makes
believe it.
sense to me. Well, and look at Ashton. Like, he looks like a husband that's in trouble. Like, he looks like a man who
Mhm.
knows he done messed up. And I don't even think that, I mean, I think his wife is real. I think he got him into a little bit of a mess there. Good for her, even though,
Apostle
that little,
Alex is trying to help me. I don't even know how to do
because
this.
it's muted on the screen. Like, if you click the actual, it's in the video is muted, but that's okay. Um,
Oh, yeah.
I could watch this all day. We don't have to watch it
Same.
anymore. But that's my bet. She looks like she's mad at him. So
Yeah,
anyway,
I think so.
should we move on? Because I have a story. We have
Yes.
surprise stories to get to. In case
Tell
you
me
guys
your
don't.
surprise story.
Okay, before we do that, I just wanna tell you guys real quick that we do a little surprise story. Cassie Marie doesn't know what story I'm gonna bring, and I don't know what story she's gonna bring. And I think we should also do a quick shout out. Thank you so much, Goldie. Goldie was not even supposed to moderate. She is just here, and she is just rising to the occasion, and she's putting a link to my book. If you don't have it yet, please get it, Confessions of an Ex-Scientologist Pothead. Thank you, Goldie. And,
Thanks, Goldie.
I also decided, Cassie Marie, I was always going to say this with every live, that if anybody ever wants to give a super chat to me on my channel for the mods, just let me know and I'll pass it along. So there we go.
Love
You want
that.
to hear my story now?
Yep.
Okay. And
This
Alex,
it.
if you're still in the chat, tell me if you covered this, because I can put a link also. So you guys, the Church of Greece is telling people, stay away from Scientology. And let me tell you what,
Oh my
I did not
gosh.
realize this, but this is not the first time that Greece has openly, and it's not the country, it's the Church of Greece.
Okay. It's like the Greek
And
Orthodox Church or Church of Greece?
it is the Holy Synod. I think that's how you say it. Oh gosh, guys, hold on a second. How do you pronounce synod? I'm going to get it wrong. I had to look it up. Oh, Alex says he did.
I didn't get that.
Yep.
Try again.
He said he did post it. If we're gonna do this, we might as well sound right? It's not synod. I know that. Synod, the Holy Synod of the Church of Greece. So these are the clergy. They issued an announcement because Scientology already hasn't been in trouble in Greece, and they don't go by the Church of Scientology. They go by the Center of Applied Philosophy in Greece. And what they said is so damning. They said that it is an organization with practices that are medically, socially, and morally dangerous and harmful.
Whoop, whoop. Go Church of Greece.
Yeah, let's read that one more time.
Okay, here's what I have to say about that. This is your story, but I have
Go
something
ahead.
to say.
Do
Was
it.
that so hard? Was that so hard? Someone should call them up and be like, thanks. Could you let everyone know that that was the easiest thing you could have ever done? Like, it was not that difficult.
That's actually really interesting that you say that, because we definitely could be like, hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody take note, please. Well, and the thing that was really fascinating to me, and this was a lot of different places, and Apostate Alex, his other comment in here said that he did, I think it was him then that put this idea in my mind, and that Leah Remini retweeted it, and then it went viral. So not my idea. It was all Alex. But I found this really interesting. The U.S. Department of State has a report on the different religions in different countries, and it mentions here that it is less than 5% of the population includes not just Scientology, but all these other. So we're talking about an extremely small handful of people. But as we know, in Scientology, a few zealots can make a lot of trouble. So I'm curious, like, with less than 5% of the population, how this became such a hot topic for them that they were willing to put this out. Now, listen, Greece has always been a little bit ahead of the times, because this was back from 1997. A court in Greece ruled that an Athens-based Scientology group is illegal and must immediately disband. So they've already done this before. So whatever battle is happening has been happening now for at least 5 years. So fascinating. Then Stand League. Are you familiar with Stand League?
Yep.
So Stand League is I don't even know what the stand stands for, but it's basically like Scientologists against religious discrimination. Is that right?
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And they're the organization that you'll often, if you go to their website, you'll see all the hate sites about Leah Remini, and basically anybody who makes a big enough fuss about Scientology, the Stand League will attack. I thought it was really interesting because this is an older article, and it's was written by a Scientologist who, when they were younger, were Greek Orthodox. So this is literally a piece of propaganda from Scientology that is saying like, oh, hey, Greek Orthodox. Like, come over here. Let's see.
Wow.
Apostate Alex, Scientology was raided in the 2000s in Greece and ordered to close and their assets sold, but they just set up a new company and carried on operating under a different name. Yes, exactly, because
As
they're business
Scientology
in
does.
Greece, as
Yeah.
they do. Then this. Now, I have no explanation for this, Alex. Please, my
Alex,
friend. Please,
we
my
should have
friend.
just
We should
had
do a live with
Alex on
Alex. I
this
know it's
week.
just like an Alex show today.
Yeah.
This is bonkers. This right here is an old who knows what, but there's a rabbit hole here. It is going on and talking about how the CIA intervened with Greek intelligence agency on behalf of Scientology.
Wow.
There's a rabbit hole here, a big one. So I'm not going to go down this with you, but I guess the point was just to tell you that, you know, Alex with his wonderful site brings up this piece of news and it just, there's like a whole rabbit with everything with Scientology.
There's so much more
There's
to
a
it.
rabbit
Yeah.
hole. We love
You
it,
did
Alex.
steal
We
the
love
show.
it. We love it.
The apostate Alex wrap up this week.
So anyway,
Yes.
that's my story for our week. I was proud of Greece, and then I also really wanted anything that is involving the CIA and Scientology. Like, I'm there.
Oh,
Take me there.
yes. Speaking of the CIA and Scientology, a lot of people have been saying that Ashton Kutcher is like weirdly obsessed with the CIA too.
He
Like,
is. I believe that he
he-
is. He's openly said before that he has worked with the CIA on behalf of human trafficking. He had a post one
Yeah.
time where he was like drinking from a CIA cup and a mug, and he was
Yeah.
like, "Thank you, CIA." Now,
And he does like interviews all the time where he's like, I think the CIA, blah, blah, blah. And I think TikTok is blah, blah, blah because of the CIA.
Yeah.
Like, he's
Well,
so
and
obsessed.
I don't know your stance on this, but I truly do believe that many celebrities are used by the CIA for propaganda. I mean, I do think that. I mean,
I haven't
look
gone
at,
down that rabbit hole, but I believe it.
yeah. Well, there are a lot of stories about it. I'm not saying everybody, but and then there are times we got to think about it, right? Like, some celebrities are beloved. Like, look at North
Right.
Korea. They had Dennis Rodman go over there because he was invited on behalf of the leader just because he was a celebrity. There, obviously, we could see situations like that where the CIA would get involved. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I just say one last thing?
Yes.
Okay. I had 3 childhood crushes. Ashton Kutcher, because of Dude, Where's My Car? I don't know why, but just those low-rise pants. The only guy who could ever pull it off. Topher Grace, Jason Dohring, but Topher Grace was the right choice. I just want everyone to know that.
He's coming out on top of all of this.
Okay, sorry, I just had to say that. My little girl crush. Tell me your
I
story.
love lots of people have been talking about Topher Grace on TikTok, actually. And a lot of people were saying that, like, how weird is it that Topher Grace just had to do the bare minimum of like not being an awful person to like come out on top of that 70 show cast?
I know.
Because everyone else is just
because they're the worst. Can you actually put up this delicious things comment? I just had the weirdest idea. It says, is he, Ashton, trying to make up for past bad behavior? I mean, we do all know that there are circumstances when the FBI or the CIA does get involved when they have information, criminal information about people.
Yeah.
That does happen. And there was this, like, now the world knows that he sat outside his dead girlfriend's house, but that's pretty damning. He might not have wanted people to even know that. So maybe that was part of why he went to the CIA. I love that idea. I love it. Keep going.
I was going to put this up. This is my dad. He is really into all of that stuff. Yeah, he's like, he would know. I just thought it was funny that that's when he comments, he's like, oh yeah, celebrities have been used by the CIA.
It's a pretty common thing.
He knows. Okay, so my surprise story, I'm bringing in the non-Scientology of our SPTV Scientology roundup. But Jill Duggar released her memoir on Tuesday. Counting the Cost.
Wonderful.
I was trying to share, there was an excerpt of it in People magazine had an article on their website, and I couldn't get their website to go to the right article. Like I couldn't find it because everyone's Googling Jill Duggar. And so there's every article they've ever written about Jill is on the website right now. And I like couldn't sift through.
Read me the jacket. Read me the jacket.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
see. Let me find it.
For everyone who probably knows this.
I'm going to read you the back of this, the prologue, because her co-writer that she chose was amazing. I read this in one day. I couldn't put it down. It was written so well, and there were so many like one-liners that were just amazing. But from the prologue, she says, one thing about growing up in the Duggar family, I saw a lot of bewilderment in a lot of different people's eyes. Cameramen, journalists, everyday strangers in a store. There was always someone staring, always someone trying to figure out if we were for real. For years, I didn't pay it much attention. I either brushed it off or told myself that people's confusion about the Duggar family life was just another sign that we had been blessed by God with a wonderful opportunity to show the world how we live. I couldn't see my life from the outside. It didn't stay that way. Soon, the bewilderment would be mine. I have chills reading that.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good. So her sister, Ginger, wrote a memoir a few months ago, like earlier this year.
Wait a minute. Is Ginger the one that wrote the memoir that was more for the people that were still in? Or is this one that?
She wrote it for the people still in the IBLP. So for those of you that don't know, the Duggar family is 19 kids and counting. They were very popular on TLC, had a reality show for many years. Josh Duggar is their older brother that had a lot of scandals and recently was arrested and put away just last year, I think, for CSAM. I can't say those words on YouTube, but you can look up.
Picky pictures.
Yes. The worst kind, like the worst of the worst. And he was put away for like 12 and a half years or something. And he also had abused family members when they all were children. It was a whole thing. But the Duggar family was part of a cult called the IBLP, which was led by a man named Bill Gothard. And it's a Christian-based cult, kind of Baptist adjacent, I guess. There was a documentary called Shiny Happy People that was released.
Well, it was released recently on Amazon, and it was on Amazon Prime. If you haven't checked it out, it's a docu-series. I think it has 5 episodes, 4 or 5 episodes. Personally, I had to space them out because they were really, really triggering as far as treatment of young children. Was really quite upsetting, to be honest, to watch. And I know that 2 of the daughters wrote books. And I remember, I think it must be Ginger. Ginger was criticized for her book because she uses a lot of scripture in it. And she said that she wrote it for people that were still in the still practicing, and so she wanted it to make sense to those people, so she kind of spoke it in their own language, which I understand because Scientology has its own language, and in the past I have had to write letters to people and I want them to understand what I'm saying, and they're Scientologists, so I would use that language. So I think that Ginger's book was designed to help get those people out. So the average reader was not very happy or impressed with Ginger's book, but this new book that Cassie Marie is talking about. Hi.
This is killing me. I'm getting so mad.
I explained about Ginger's book being using a lot of the scriptures and being written so that people who are still practicing could understand it. And that this book, from what I understand, is more for us, the outside world.
It's okay. So Ginger's book was about the IBLP. She did not include her family in it at all. And Ginger is still part of, I won't get entirely into it, but still part of quite a high control Christian like church with a leader and all that. So her book was very much like IBLP is wrong. Here's what scripture says and why it's wrong.
Got it.
Jill came after her dad and he's
Ooh.
freaking out about it. So I made one of my
be.
first series on TikTok was about the Duggar family and about
Okay.
how I think they're in the cult of the IBLP. They're in the cult of child reality TV stars, and they're in the cult of the Duggar family because there's
Mhm.
all different levels of isolation and cult-like tactics and mind control with all of that.
Right.
This is tackling the family cult, the cult of the Duggar family with Jim Bob. I call him Jimothy
Mhm.
Boob on TikTok.
Tomothy and Jimothy.
Yes, Jimothy Boob Duggar. This is good. And we found out in the book that the rest of her siblings signed NDAs in regards to speaking about the family. So everyone's been really hard on Ginger, and I still have problems with the type of Christianity she's trying to have people be a part of. But the
Whoa.
reason Ginger, what I'm getting from this book is the reason Ginger did not touch her family at all is
Mhm.
because she can't.
She can't.
Because her and Jeremy signed an NDA, and so did the rest of the siblings. So I've been harsh towards some of the other siblings that are still very active on like social media that defend the family a lot.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of walking some of that back because I'm like, oh, well, they might have no choice but to defend the family. She talks a lot about how her dad mobilizes the siblings to get things done and to go against each other. And when you
Mhm.
have 19 kids and one of them is going off script and is no longer willing to be controlled, you have 18 other kids that you can mobilize and kind of
Mhm.
put pressure on them.
Mhm.
Man, is it a good book. And it really exposes a lot of the financial stuff. I mean, Jim Bob didn't pay his kids.
Yeah.
They were on that reality show for so long. Oh,
Yeah, and that combined with the Ruby Frankie
mhm.
situation, I'm pretty hopeful we're gonna see some at least financial legislature coming out where, um, they're treated at least the kids be treated like child actors, where they have to have some sort of their money saved,
Right.
on their behalf. Um, I'll be really excited to read that book actually. What's it called? Show me again?
It's called Counting the Cost.
Okay, I'll write it down.
Yep, and it's Jill Duggar, and then I guess Derek Dillard, her husband, also wrote some of it. It doesn't read like different people wrote it though, like it says with Derek, and they're like not ghostwriter, co-writer.
Co-writer, yeah.
So it reads as if Jill wrote it, but I'm
Mm.
assuming the writer wrote it with like
Yeah,
her input and her editing, and then
yeah.
Derek also had his input and editing as well.
Mhm.
It's one of the more engaging, maybe because I've just followed the Duggar family since I mean I watched them on TLC. I was fascinated. I've always been fascinated with the cults and the psychology. So I don't know if that's why I thought it was so good, but I could not put it down.
Sounds like the content was easily digestible, you just said
Mhm.
you read it in one day.
Mhm.
Um, not to gratuitously plug my book, but, people have told me that about my book as well,
Yeah, yours
and I
is
did that
like that too, for
well, and I
sure.
I think we might see a trend of that coming out really because,
Mhm.
I mean, I know I did that on purpose, and I'm sure, like, writing is a craft, I'm sure that she and her
Yep.
co-writer did that on purpose. Sometimes when you're dealing with these, like, really big, deep, complex things to have an easy digestible book is really nice because some of the
Yep.
other stories that come out about, might be more like encyclopedias about the movement.
Right.
So,
Yep.
that's exciting. I'll definitely be getting that one as soon
Yes.
as we're off.
The one last thing that I wanted to say about it is she has been in a lot of therapy. So
Ah,
she has written this from a removed place after a lot of therapy. And she does a very good job explaining the cult aspect of being in that family without really using the word cult. She doesn't call her family a cult. She calls the IBLP a cult, but not her
mm,
family. But she talks about how she does really like a lot of her childhood and a lot of the way she was raised, especially before the show. And the show is what made her dad get even more controlling and use these tactics that he learned from the IBLP and all of this stuff. But she really was like, there were good parts. And the bad things that happened doesn't mean that good things didn't happen. And the good things that happened don't negate the bad things and mean we can't talk about the bad things. And I thought from a cult perspective, that was so valuable to put in there, and something that I think people can read and apply to their situations if they're in somewhat like high control environments and they're like, but it's so good, but there's all these good things, and because of all these good things it can't be that bad. It can, and those good things are still good, but we can also talk about the bad things.
Yeah, and I think that is of a really, at least in my experience, that's a sign of a real progression of healing. Because speaking from my personal experience, like there's a period where you reject it all. And then to be able to like let a little bit to say, well, that wasn't so bad. And then to be able to take your whole life or whatever and actually have every experience can be separate. It doesn't all have to be cult. Shows a lot of healing. So that's really exciting.
Yes.
It's a good example, hopefully, for other people coming out of that same group.
Yep. I think
Can I also
so.
say one more thing? If you have 19 children and you actually think you can control them all the way through adulthood, you're a moron.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
That Jimothy Boob even thought that that was a possibility, especially like marrying them all off. Like she also talked about how Jim Bob picked Derek to be her husband. Like he handpicked Derek for her, and that was dumb choice on his part because Derek was a huge part of her like awakening and unraveling a lot of this. It's like, well, can't blame her. That was on you, bud.
I know he probably should have kept them all be spinsters, to be honest, because in that philosophy, once you are married, you now become the possession of your husband.
Right.
And so it is like a break where if you were going to question your father, that'd be the perfect time to.
Yep.
So silly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to try the good news story?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's end on a good note. We didn't do it last week, but Cassie Marie and I wanted to end every one of these with a good news story because
because
what is it?
Because we can. So now I'm questioning if this is even going to, like, if we're going to be able to hear it. Because we couldn't hear the Ashton and Mila, but I'm going to play it. You guys are going to see all my favorited TikToks really quick. Hold on while I set this up. We're going to play it and I can explain it if we can't hear it. I'm fine with that. So it's how to love your neighbor. And this again is like a Christian thing. Can we hear it at all? No. Alex is going to be like, you can do this. You can see my comment on here. I'm like, I love this. So this is talking about I think this is an old story. I don't know that this came out recently, but it's been circulating again recently. And it's about a Christian church that had like a Muslim mosque open up across the street from them. And I think this was at a time where tensions were very high after like 9/11. Oh, that's why it's circulating again, because it was just September 11th. So this was happening. Cassie's connecting dots on live YouTube. So they talked about how a lot of the congregation was getting a little antsy and a little rude about a Muslim mosque opening up across the street. And the pastor of this church was like, nope, we're not having any of you guys be that way. This guy that's we're seeing right now is talking about how he realized that by judging this church and worrying about them and thinking that they posed some kind of a danger was him being the problem and him not realizing that humans are humans and that his religion teaches you to love your neighbor as yourself. And the pastor had to have a lot of conversations with a lot of the congregants and say, we love these people. They are not others. They are not bad. They are not dangerous. They are in a place of worship as we are in a place of worship, and they put up a big sign welcoming them to the neighborhood. And this mosque and church have been working together to serve their community for years now because the pastor did the right thing. And I just thought it would be good news to share that, not all religious organizations are harmfully culty. I have lots of opinions about Christianity and Christian churches, but you can be a decent human being. And you don't have to other those that are different from you. And you don't have to think that they're bad or try to evangelize to them or think that they're wrong. You can be friends. You can love them. You can teach your congregation like how to be a decent human being. And I just loved it. And it was really heartwarming to see people not be rotten to each other.
I needed to see that today. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It's a great reminder, because sometimes we do end up sort of lumping the religions in with the cults.
Mhm.
And there's a little bit of everything sort of all in there, but there's a way to,
Yeah.
like you said, to be a decent human being, and this is a great example.
Yeah, and I do
Yay.
think it's appropriate sometimes to lump the religions into the cults,
Yeah.
but I also think we're never going like, I don't think the goal should be to, like, deconvert everybody from every
Mm,
religion ever, like,
right.
it's silly. So,
Yeah.
to see that and to see someone go on camera and say, "I
Mhm.
realized I was the problem and my theology was not healthy and helpful, and I changed," I feel like is a great testament to like cult deconstruction and like waking up to that. So
Yeah.
that's
You don't see a lot of people admitting they're wrong when they're representing a religion. So
nope.
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you for that. That was so good. I'll get a link
Yeah.
from you if you don't mind, of this, and I'll put it in the description so people can hear the whole sound.
Yes, I'll do the same.
Awesome.
Well, thanks guys for hanging out with us for our SPTV roundup. Make sure if you're on my side of things that you follow Liz at Liz Gale Gale
Yes,
on
please do.
YouTube and TikTok,
Mhm.
right? And buy
Yes.
her book because it's good.
Buy it. Buy my book. It's on
Yep.
Amazon. And I am Liz Gale Gale, and Cassie Marie is the Cassie Marie on TikTok and at
Mhm.
No Culty Vibes here on the YouTubes. So,
Yep. Let me see if I
alright,
can pull up our, outro.
our
This
outro.
is um, is it gonna try to play if I pull it? Ah!
Keep doing it.
Sorry.